What's up, Joheem?
I'm feeling some woheem.
Oh, what's got you low-heem?
Weight loss. I've hit a plateau-heem.
Creo que eres guapo-heem.
Gracias. Let's start the show-heem. Well, does this still work? The podcast looks at all movies and asks, does this still work? I'm Joe Dixon.
And I'm George Romacka. And today we're discussing A History of Violence from 2005 and some historical context. First, podcasty stuff. We're excited to announce that we've joined the Creator Accountability Network. CAN is a nonprofit dedicated to reducing harassment and abuse through ethical education and a system of restorative accountability. We joined because we care about the safety and well-being of our community members. If you feel our behavior or content has harmed someone, please report it to CAN, either via the reporting form on their website, creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org, or via their hotline at 617-249-4255. They'll help us make it right and avoid repeating that mistake in the future. CAN also needs volunteers from our communities to help with their work, so if you have skills you think would be helpful, or time and a desire to help, please visit their website to find out how you can volunteer. Most importantly, get the word out to other creators who you think would be interested in getting credentialed. Help us build safer communities together. You can reach us at dtswpod@gmail.com, on Facebook, Letterboxd, and on our YouTube channel. Joe is on Blue Sky at joedixon.bsky.social. Please tell your friends about us, even and maybe especially the ones who will dress up in a cheerleader costume to try and keep the sex life alive. And leave 5-star ratings everywhere. You can pick what we watch and get extra per episode content by funding us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/dtswpod.
Now, George, take us back to 2005.
And that's the way it was.
It would be hard to narrow down a search on violence, what with our species relying on it so heavily. So we'll look at mob news from 2005 for this history segment. Joe, read this headline from the Rushville Republican of Rushville, Indiana, from Saturday, November 12, 2005.
Prosecutors find a reputed New York mobster's TV comedy to be no laughing matter.
Christopher Colombo, what a name, was under house arrest, awaiting trial for racketeering, extortion, and loan sharking. Not murder, which is why I name him.
Okay.
He was able to pitch and film at least a pilot episode of an HBO show called House Arrest that showed him living it up with strippers and probably blow when he was allowed to roam free to, quote, attend to family matters, and then after curfew at home with buddies and probably hookers.
Probable hookers.
Doesn't matter what I wrote there. What I said matters.
Here's the thing. If you are under house arrest, maybe don't film yourself doing things that's going to lose you your house arrest privileges. I've never been a mobster myself, but that would seem like a wise way to go.
Yeah. Well, the prosecution said he was making a mockery of the court and that airing the show contained a jury pool. As far as I could tell from Googling, the show never made it to air.
Haha, they said tanked.
Yeah, they did. That HBO was even considering this speaks to our national problem of discernment. Joe, read this headline from the Evansville Courier and Press of Evansville, Indiana, from Monday, March 14th, 2005.
Mobster Madness! It's getting tough to tell good guys from bad ones.
This one is a little more along the lines of our film, where the protagonist isn't who his wife thinks he is. Here we have 32 mobsters being shocked, I tell you, to learn that one of their bestest buddies was a cop all along.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Yeah. In the same story, we have 2 actual cops being arrested for being mob enforcers.
Ooh.
All of them were made men, which means they were fully initiated into the mafia hierarchy. I actually looked up what the heck actually is a made man, and that's basically what it means.
Okay.
The 2 cops had been funneling information about informants to their mob buddies, resulting in those informants being killed.
Ooh, that's bad.
Speaking of murder, I mean, rarely does anyone admit to doing one, but this headline wasn't trying all that hard. Joe, give us one more Indiana headline, which, by the way, the film mostly takes place in Indiana, which is where these newspapers come from. This one's the Times of Hammond, Indiana, from Saturday, May 7th, 2005.
Accused mobster denies murder plots.
This guy was trying to get out of his trial by having only 10% of his pituitary gland functioning and taking 9 medications a day, which is only slightly more than I take. He was one of 14 mobsters indicted on murder, conspiracy, and other charges as part of the FBI's Operation Family Secrets.
Oh, okay.
This is one of the most successful investigations of organized crime that the FBI had ever conducted. It resulted in the arrests of 14 members of the Chicago outfit on murder and conspiracy charges.
Okay.
It all started when Frank Calabrese Jr. wrote a letter to the FBI from prison, the same prison his father was in, saying he needed their help to make sure his father never again walked free.
Yeah, that would be my attitude towards my dad, but okay.
Yeah. Well, apparently Frank Sr. wasn't the best dad, having done things like hold his son at gunpoint and then threatening him for doing the totally normal thing adult children do of stealing hundreds of thousands in cash from their dad and blowing it on cocaine and bad business investments.
Oh boy, this is not a good family at all.
Nope. Ultimately, 14 people were arrested, 6 of them pleading guilty, 3, including Frank Calabrese Sr., getting convicted, and 2 dying before they could stand trial.
Now that's the way to do it.
Yep. As of last year, at least, Frank Calabrese Jr. is still alive and speaks regularly at the Mob Museum in Las Vegas.
So he, wasn't he in jail with his dad? Didn't it say that?
Yep.
So I guess his, I guess you don't know. Did he strike a deal or something? How did he?
I guess he did.
Or maybe just whatever he was convicted of.
I mean, his father was sentenced to life in prison based on these charges. So he was already in, like, they might have been held pending trial.
Well, I guess so. So he gets to speak at the Mob Museum. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, subject matter expert.
Interesting gig to have, but okay.
Okay, Joe. Let's talk about a history of violence.
Indeed, we shall. Okay, first of all, this film was directed by David Cronenberg. For the podcast, we've seen his work in The Dead Zone. And I've seen him as an actor in Last Night and To Die For. And as a director, I've seen his work in Crash, the 1996 version, not the one we saw over the podcast, The Fly, and The Brood.
Is The Brood like The Fly, just more of them?
You know, it's funny. The Brood predates The Fly. This is the first film David Cronenberg made. And it's about... he was getting a divorce at the time, and so there's some debate on how misogynist this picture is. But it's basically about a man having problems with his ex-wife and the child that they have, and it's... yeah, I don't know. Nothing I want to get into right now. But in any case, no, okay. It has something to do with The Fly.
All right.
Interestingly, The Fly is seen as a metaphor for modern relationships because who is oh god,
Jeff Goldblum,
the actor who was in the last one we just saw?
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum is The Fly, and he's dating Gina Davis. And they have a relationship in the film, and then he turns into The Fly, and she gets pregnant, and she doesn't want to have the kid. And people said it's basically really a movie about modern relationships, but they have a monster in it.
Yeah.
So The Crash is just about people who like to fuck when their car crashes.
I saw, because I clicked through on that. I'm like, that is a weird kink.
It made no fucking sense. Anyway, let's move on. This movie was written by John Wagner.
And I've seen his work in Judge Dredd.
And it was also written by Vince Locke and Josh Olson. To the blurbs. IMDb says, a mild-mannered man becomes a local hero through an act of violence, which sets off repercussions that will shake his family to its very core. I think that...
yeah, pretty close.
Yeah. Okay, YouTube has a whole other idea.
As per usual.
In this stylized thriller from director David Cronenberg, The Fly, Dead Zone, Viggo Mortensen, the Lord of the Rings trilogy... Viggo Mortensen.
No N.
Viggo Mortensen, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, stars as Tom McKenna. Okay, first mistake. Anyway, Tom McKenna, a well-respected man who leads a quiet, charmed life with his loving wife and family in a small town. But when he kills a robber in self-defense at the diner he runs, Tom is lauded by the national media as a vigilante hero. Unfortunately, the media spotlight also brings him to the attention of some sleazy criminals who recognize Tom as a former associate gone underground. Now, to protect his family from certain peril, Tom must return to his secret past and confront a history of violence. Okay? Number one, wrong name. And number two, it's robbers, not robber. But other than that, great job, YouTube.
Yeah.
Anyway, here are some of the characters we will be discussing. Tom Stoll is played by Viggo Mortensen. And for the podcast, we've seen him in G.I. Jane and Crimson Tide. Why, he's played a lot of soldiers, I just realized.
Mm-hmm.
I've also seen him in Green Book and Witness.
And I've seen him in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. All of 3 of them. Before the prequels came out. The Hobbit ones.
And Edie Stoll is played by Maria Bello. And I've seen her in The Cooler, The Beef, and to my utter shock, because I totally did not remember this if they must have mentioned it at the time, but I just didn't remember. She wrote the movie The Woman King. She wrote it with someone else, but she still wrote it. The Woman King is a story about this black African queen and the fighting against being, slavery was going on at the time in the States, and they've tried to get slaves, and she's one of the few people who fought back against it. And there's some controversy because apparently that tribe is not always the greatest, but it's not a history lesson, it's a movie. But I just love this blonde white woman wrote this movie. Like, what?
The other writer?
And there's no black people in this film. Not that she didn't cast this thing, but still, there's no black people in this film, but she wrote a movie with her, but almost the entire cast is black. It's just, I don't know, it's just funny to me.
Did you look at who the other writer is?
Yeah, and he was also a white dude.
Yeah, no white woman.
No, it's a dude. I believe it was Dan Stevens.
Dana Stevens.
Oh, Dana, I read the name.
I'm literally looking at the picture.
Okay. Then it's 2 white women. Okay. I mean, look, you can have it. I'm not knocking it. It's just funny.
I mean, wow. What was the other one? Oh, The Color Purple was kind of similar. Like a white dude was in charge of it.
Well, Steven Spielberg directed it, but it was written by Alice Walker from her book, so it's not quite the same.
That's fair then. Okay. And I've seen her in Coyote Ugly.
Jack Stoll.
I kept getting her thinking she was Diane Lane.
Oh, yeah, I can see that, actually. That makes a certain amount of sense. Anyway, Jack Stoll is played by Ashton Holmes.
And I kept thinking he was the kid from, Zombieland.
Nope, not him. Carl Fogarty is played by Ed Harris. For the podcast, we see him in Top Gun Maverick, Gone Baby Gone, and Buffalo Soldiers. And we both see him in The Truman Show and Snowpiercer.
And I've seen him in The Abyss, Apollo 13, The Rock, and A Beautiful Mind.
Richie Kuzak is played by William Hurt. Both of us have seen him in Avengers Infinity War, Captain America Civil War, The Incredible Hulk, Black Widow, Avengers Endgame, and I've seen him in Broadcast News, Syriana, The Accidental Tourist, Children of a Lesser God, and The Big Chill.
And I've seen him in Michael and AI, Artificial Intelligence.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Michael's the one with the angel, right? John Travolta's an angel, okay, right?
Yep.
We should put that on the list sometime. I've never seen it. I'd be curious to see it. Anyway, let's discuss this movie. It's discussion time.
Okay.
George, what was your favorite part of this film?
I didn't have a favorite part of this film.
Really? Okay.
Like I guess but that's not a fair answer to a question that is supposed to be content for our podcast. So I'm not going to say a sex scene because, of course, I like sex scenes. As long as they're not. I mean, this one started pretty rough.
Well, we can get into the sex scene.
But we won't. I guess my favorite would be... I appreciated how quickly it wrapped up the main plot point. Like, okay. The thing where he killed... So his brother... the plot of the movie, people, is that Viggo Mortensen's character has been living as this mild-mannered diner owner for 17 years or so. Met Edie, they got married, had babies. Everything's going great. 2 rando whack job fucking psychopaths murder a motel owner and maid and a little girl and then try to rob this diner. And he protects his employees and ends up killing the robbers. This gets him on the news. And once his face gets out there, these mob guys from Philadelphia come in and are like, hey, Joey, what's up, buddy? Remember when you tried to rip my eye out with barbed wire? And he's like, I'm not Joey, I'm Tom. Go fuck yourself. And it goes on like that for a little bit until push comes to shove and he has to admit that, oh, no, I really am Joey. I went and I lived in the desert for 3 years to purge myself of that evil, and I became Tom. But he
That's
does
all
have,
in the blurb. You're not telling
right?
Something they don't already know.
So he goes to see his brother, and his brother is like, hey, Brohim, good to see you. And within like 5 minutes, he's like, okay, but now you have to die because you fucked me over like 17 years ago. And then the action, the whole sequence is like 10 minutes before the brother's now dead. And like, he has his brother dead to rights with the gun. And the brother's like, Jesus, Joey. And then Joey shoots him in the head. And he's like, Jesus, Frankie. Or Jesus, Richie, whatever his fucking name is. And that's it. Like, that's the thing. He throws the gun in the lake and he goes home. Like, okay, nice and tidy ending there.
Okay. I didn't hear what was your favorite part in there, but okay.
My favorite part was, Jesus, Joey. Pop.
Okay.
Jesus, Richie. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
All right, well, my favorite part of the film was that it was 90 minutes. It was nice, short, and taut. I loved it. I was in and I was out. Perfect movie feature length. Loved it. What was your least favorite part of the movie? Because you didn't have a favorite part. You must have had a least favorite part, sounds like.
I didn't like watching them. I mean, you didn't see them kill the little girl, but you knew it was happening. I didn't like when they were robbing the diner, they had to sexually assault the waitress.
Well, they didn't.
They didn't have to. That was a choice by the actors.
No. They didn't assault her. He touched her boob and then sniffed his hand. That's a sexual assault. Right, I did forget about that part.
And that was a choice by the actor. And I mean, she, as an actress, was like, yeah, no, that makes sense for this scene. And I guess it did make sense. I didn't like seeing it, though.
Well, he's dead later, so that must have pleased you.
Very quick, very soon after that, in fact.
By the way, the idea that I can 100 believe him getting he has the coffee thing, whatever it's called, the thermos or whatever, in his hand. He hits the bad guy in the head with one of the first one. That I can believe. But then him getting over that counter quick enough to get the other guy and shoot him, I don't think so. But whatever. So my least favorite part is with the son. And I understand why it's there, but I just didn't. I could have lived without it. It didn't. I don't think it added that much to the picture, really. Although maybe you disagree with that, you can tell me. But that was my least favorite part. It is not that it's a bad subplot. It could have been. I just don't think it needed really to be there.
I don't necessarily disagree with you, but let's let the audience know what that subplot was. This kid is a high school student, and not a particularly. No, you know what? I can't say it. He's got a pretty girlfriend.
He has a girlfriend, yeah.
Like, he's got a social life, apparently.
So, yeah.
But there's this bully that is so ham-fistedly scripted to be a bully. Like, you're playing softball during fucking gym class, and you hit a pop fly, and the kid caught it, and you're upset at him personally for it. Like... that shit, like, you are such a worthless piece of shit child of a Republican at that point. Like, your parents must have peaked in high school, and that's why you're this upset about this thing. Because how weak is your is your ego? Like, how easily bothered are you if the normal happenstance of a gym class game that isn't in your favor gets you violently and personally upset?
Yeah, and it's never clear why he picks on this guy other than he just thinks he can. Because it's like the hostility, and the hostility is not returned. The kid clearly doesn't want to bother with him one way or the other. So it's just very, it is ham-fisted. It's written as one-dimensional, definitely.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. So that's my least favorite part, is that subplot. And yeah, this in the bully, that I just don't think it added anything. And again, that character isn't that interesting, unless they're trying to imply he's going to be a future one of those killers, because he does run into them and they bully him in a sense, and he backs down very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do if you were married to someone who lied to you about everything?
Joe, I was married to somebody that lied to me about some things, and I got a divorce.
So is that your answer? Is that your final answer?
If they lied to me about, if I divorce somebody for lying to me about some things, and not a majority of things, just some important things, then somebody that lies to me about everything, yeah, that's a divorce.
I've never been married, although I'd like to be someday before I hit the grave.
I would like that for you too, Joe.
Thank you, George. So, yeah, I mean, obviously I wouldn't be too crazy. I guess it would depend on what the lies are about. I mean, in this case, she doesn't know who this man is. So I can see why Edie would be very upset about, and the kids also wind up finding out later that dad is not dead. Although I guess technically he is there. I mean, Tom Stoll is the man who raised them. They just don't know about his past.
He became who he wanted to be. He's been that for 17 years. You can't, and the brother even says, you've been this guy for longer than you were yourself. So, like, he adopted a new persona that he wanted. I don't see, like, I can get the shock. I can get how that could be shocking and shake your family to its core. But ultimately, I don't think that would be the deal breaker. Because who he is now matters. Who he's been for the time you've known him matters. And what he's been is a good provider and somebody that will fiercely protect his family.
Yeah, that's where I was trying to go with this. Yeah, I think if the woman I was involved with, and it turns out she has a whole past that I did not know about, I guess, yeah, but she's been great the last 17 years. How long have we been together? I'm like, you know what? I'm not happy you didn't tell me. But yeah, it wouldn't be a deal breaker for me. It just wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean,
especially something. Well, I guess it depends. Again, it depends on what they like. Because I have a friend, and you've met him, whose mother left the family, just abandoned the family completely, and started a whole new family, and never told that family that he existed. So that for me would be a deal breaker, because I can't imagine being with someone like, you abandoned your child. Especially for someone like me who was abandoned as a kid. So I have no way I would want to be with someone who would do something like that. So I guess it depends on what the lie is. A history of murdering people, that might be a deal breaker, actually.
Depends on who the murder victims were.
That's true. That is true. I mean,
because there are people that somebody could kill, and I would be like, respect.
I mean, from the way the story is written, it seems like the real guy, before he became Tom Stoll, seemed to have just only killed other gangsters. It didn't seem like he attacked regular people. So
seemed like the trash taking itself out. Yeah.
Yeah. So is that so bad? I don't know. Some people wonder about, can someone really change? Like, I think it's possible. I
did.
Yeah, I mean, I have changed too. Yeah.
I mean, I've changed since you've known me.
Yes, and I have too.
Yeah.
Being like a gangster or any other, it's just one more thing someone gets to be, and then after a while you get burnout. You can be burned out as a gangster, you can be burned out as a thug, you can be burned out as a DJ, you can be burned out as a podcast, you can be burned out as an actor. You can be
I love how you threw that one in there. I feel like that's just trying to soft pedal you.
Well, no, I'm just simply saying people
prepping the audience for your eventual departure.
That's not where this is going. I'm simply saying that I remember years ago, and I can't remember, it may have been on This American Life, I don't remember, but I was listening to this radio program, and this guy who used to go out every night, and he was like, getting into bed wherever he can get into, and he was like getting in the fights with his friends. I mean, not with his friends, and they would just go out and beat up people, and they were just having a grand old time. And as he was getting older, he's like, he just got bored with it. He just got sick of doing the same thing every night, even though the same thing every night for the manosphere or something like, oh, he's a manly man. It was like, everything gets boring. Everything you get burnt out from. So yeah, obviously this character at some point, like, I can't just go out and do this every evening, every night, beating up people, shooting up people. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm sick of who I am. I'm sick of what this has done to me. And I just moved on. Okay.
Alrighty.
Well, I guess sort of answer the next question. I was going to ask, can anyone truly escape their past?
Well, it depends on how much it impacted their credit history.
True. Although, interesting fact that I've learned that if you, at least for Thailand, I don't know about Mexico, which I'm also looking at moving to someday, they don't care about your credit rating. So if anybody ever wants to go to have terrible credit, go to Thailand, apparently, because they don't check. It depends on what part of your past is encroaching on your future. Yeah, if your past is like, I I don't know. I mean, I would like to know if my wife, or whoever, just a friend, whatever, was a drug dealer or something. But if you don't want to share that part of your life because it's in the past and it's not affecting us now, you don't have to. No one has to know everything about the other person they're with.
In fact, the older you are when you meet each other, the more shit you're not going to say because there's that much more shit. Like, you got that many more years of experience to not share with each other because a lot of it to you is going to be boring and you're not going to think it's worth sharing.
Yeah, and it's just baggage. And how important the baggage is, again, depends on how it affects what you have now. Mm-hmm. And if it has no effect, then yeah, I can certainly understand why would I share that. And I understand why he wouldn't tell Will's wife, because they have a great marriage, apparently. He loves the town he's in. Everyone seems to like him. He's running this business perfectly fine. If those two assholes hadn't come to town, he'd be this perfectly upstanding, respectable citizen and everything would be cool. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, why would I tell you this thing's going to make you very mad at me and possibly leave me when it has no effect on who I am now? Yeah, I mean, I get why people just should be honest with your partner and everything, but I can understand, like, this just, you don't need to know this. What do you think this film says about violence? And I ask this question because, remember, it's not just his violent act, but then it sort of goes on to his son. Because his son then becomes violent. And then even at one point commits murder. I mean, okay, not technically, maybe not murder, self-defense.
Yeah, I think it's a ham-fisted thing of violence begets violence.
Is that what you got? I got the impression.
But,
I got the feeling it's like more like the sins of the father is a visit upon.
There's that too. I think like it tries to do the hypocrisy of it, right? Like you can't solve your problems with violence. Or no, you can't solve your problems by punching somebody out. No, in this family, we shoot them. Suddenly he slaps his kid. Like they make that as a joke in the way of the house husband. Like, the main character used to be Yakuza, and now he just, like, does all the things around the house very well. Runs into one of his...
set that up better, because you're talking about the house husband is what?
Oh, the way of the house husband. It's an anime that is strangely, weirdly wholesome. But, like, he ends up beating the crap out of this old associate of his for disturbing his croquette cooking class. And he's like, you can't use violence to protect what's sacred. And then he beats the guy up, and the guy's like, that's violence!
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, I've seen that anime, actually. Where is it? Where's it streamed? Netflix. So if anybody's interested, you can watch it there. But it is an interesting comparison. You're right, because it is about a guy who used to be a gangster. I mean, it's an anime, so it's not as serious as his movie, but still, it's about a guy who used to be a gangster, and then suddenly he's domesticated. He's like, he's cooking. His wife goes out to work every day. He's a house husband. He's cleaning the place. He's cooking for her. At one point, I saw one of the episodes where he rushes to the office because she forgot her lunch. He just is a maniac. Lunatic goes and rushing, puts the food together, rushing to get it to her. But yeah.
That show is why I call my boss Lady, and it's actually become a whole thing. Now everybody calls her Boss Lady.
All right, this has nothing to do with the film, but since you brought it up, I do have a quick question.
Sure.
What do you think of someone calling their coworker their work wife?
Hold on. I have a Reddit to pull up about that because it is my all-time highest rated comment.
Well, before you find that comment, I personally think no. I would never call my coworker I'm good friends with Jackie. I could technically say, she's my work wife. But I'm not doing that. If I'm ever in a relationship, I'm definitely not doing that. That is it just sounds, to me, it sounds weird. You're not my wife in any way. My wife will be my wife. You're my coworker. You're my friend. That's it.
Right. So this was, and it's actually my second most highest voted comment ever. But somebody posted this in the anti-work subreddit. It was a article from Insider. The headline is, Millennials say it's inappropriate to have a work wife, but most Gen Zers and Boomers are cool with it, poll finds. My comment was, Xennial here, 1981. I disapprove of the culture where we spend so much of our time and energy at work that our coworkers become analogs to spouses. I have no problem with people getting their needs met consensually within the bounds of their existing relationship agreements.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I don't care what you call each other. The fact that you spend so much time at work that somebody can become analogous to a spouse, that's a problem with work.
So your whole focus isn't on the naming, it's so much on the job itself.
Yeah, on the why is this even a thing?
And it's actually a question, like, is it true in just the States, or does this happen anywhere else?
I have no idea.
Because some places, like, they have a much more comfortable idea of work. And work is not your whole life. Your life is your life, and your job is your job. But in the United States, we don't always make those departures or those separations. And when we do, it's seen as bad somehow. Anyway, back to the movie. I just asking a question. I was curious about that. All right. So, why do you think Joey Cusack turned his life around? What made you think? Because I don't really get into.
I don't have any fucking idea, and it bothered. It was like, God damn it! Instead of the fucking kid, right? This should have been what filled that space to still keep it at 90 minutes. Should have been flashbacks to the decision that he made and what he went through to do that. Like, that would have been interesting. And I'm a little peeved that they just ignore it. They don't even bother.
I mean, part of it sort of is implied that he hurt this gangster who was the Ed Harris character, who was a made man. So maybe that's part of what he went on the run. But he doesn't seem that concerned about that.
No, that would have been a reason for him to go on the run and hide, not a reason for him to change who he is.
Right, and to start all over again. So, yeah, I'm not actually that bothered. Although you're right, it would have been better for the film if that had been flashbacks explaining that as opposed to stuff about the son. It's okay with me. I didn't need an necessary answer to that, but it is curious why. I guess it's for you to just figure out on your own. Clearly, the filmmakers, and this is based on a comic novel. It was turned into a script. He made the movie, and no one answers that question. So clearly, people made it say, it's not important. We don't give a shit. But yeah, it may have helped the film a bit more if we got an idea. What did make him decide, okay, I don't want to do this anymore? Although, some days people just wake up and go like, I just don't want to do this anymore. There is no inciting incident. They just go like, I just don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. I'm tired of it. And that's not interesting filmmaking, but it is accurate. Okay, my friend, what did you make of the ending? What do you think it meant?
So the ending of this movie is he comes back home after killing his brother, and his family is sat down to dinner, and there's not a plate at his part of the table. And he just kind of stands there, and his daughter grabs a plate and utensils and sets his plate at the table. And then his son sort of starts putting food on that plate. So, at least on the surface, his children are like, we still want you as our dad. Edie doesn't look at him, I don't think.
I think she glances at him, but yeah, she doesn't really acknowledge him, but she doesn't tell him to get out.
Right. So I think she would follow along with the kids at some point and be like, he's really good in bed, and for 17 years he took care of us, and he is who he is now more than he is who he was. Like, she'll probably get there, but again, the shock of it is going to take more than a couple of days to get over, and this movie is a couple of days.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Since you did bring it up that how good in bed he is, what did you think of the sex scene? Not the cheerleader scene, but the scene on the staircase after she finds out who he is, and they have that little.
It was rough because I've had sex like that. Not as violent as that, but I've had sex that involved anger and stuff, and so it's a weird line to walk, and it's not a thing that doesn't happen.
I got the impression it was there to show she's still angry. There's still a part of him that's still rough, but at the same time, it's not like he hits her or anything. They're just like. It's just a bunch of grabbing.
Restraint. Yeah.
Yeah. And then suddenly they start fucking. Which, yeah, I'm sure sex like you said, and I'm sure people have sex like that all the time. And it's like, it's borderline, but it's clearly consensual. It's not that she doesn't want him to do it. Right. But at the same time, she's angry. So, sure, people have sex like that all the time. But I'm angry at you. I'm still attracted to you. I still want to fuck you, but I'm still angry as well. So it's like,
What is it with people who look like Diane Lane having sex in stairwells?
Well, at least with those two, they have an excuse of not having a condom. I still don't know why Diane Lane didn't have a condom in that movie about the affair.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my friend, does this film still work?
Yeah, it was a solid movie. Like, it is a very nicely packaged movie. And it got a lot, like, I've never heard of this movie until I saw it on the, yeah.
Really? Wow. Okay.
I could have sworn I'd heard Brohim before, but apparently it came from this fucking movie.
You know, it's interesting to say that because I saw I'm not on TikTok, but they'll sometimes put it up on Facebook, TikTok things. And someone got into, not for this movie, but for a bunch of films that phrases that I just thought were just part of the vocabulary all came from movies. So,
Yeah.
a lot of things we say today, like apparently toast, saying, oh, you're toast, came from Ghostbusters?
This chick is toast! I know the moment that came from in Ghostbusters.
I had no idea. But I guess, when I think about it, I guess you're right. I never did say that before this movie. So that's just weird. Is what gets into the vocabulary. Yeah, and Brohim apparently comes from this film. Yeah. Mm-hmm. A film that's, I mean, I knew when I saw it when it originally came out, but it wasn't that popular, although it did get an Oscar nomination, but it's sort of...
He got a fucking... William Hurt got an Oscar nomination for the 10 minutes of movie that he's in.
Yeah, sometimes they don't make sense, Oscars, but I mean, I like William Hurt, but he's not in the film long enough. Yeah, because yes, you thought of phrases come from film, just don't realize it. But yeah, I'm surprised you never saw it, and you say you don't even remember ever hearing about it.
Nope.
That's wild. That's wild to me. Huh. Yes,
it shouldn't be at this point.
No, but it's like one of those films that was popular, but once it was out of the theater, it's just apparently just been forgotten it existed. It's like the first Trump administration. People just totally forgot. It just brought it back again. I had no memory of apparently the first time we went through this. It's weird. It's weird. The collective amnesia that Americans can have sometimes is odd. Anyway, but for myself, yeah, I agree it works. Like I said, I liked that it was good, short, kept all the beats going. It gave us very bad villains that we definitely hated. Mm-hmm. Got those guys out of it. Very good. You can't complain about the way you absolutely want those guys shot.
All the worst people in this movie die.
Yes, absolutely.
It's nice that way.
Yes. No good person. No one's accidentally shot.
Well, no, some good people die.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yes.
But all of the bad ones
of the
die.
bad guys, yeah.
Yeah, all the bad ones die. One of the bad ones dies for not killing a good guy. One of the henchmen that Richie says, kill my brother. Like, they fail to kill the brother, and he gets away, and he's like, how could you fuck this up? And then he shoots him to death.
Well, I think the guy was already dying.
No, he was hurt. He was...
Oh, you're right. Just because he got kicked, right. Yeah, you're right. He's the one who kills him. Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, I love this idea. Okay. Number one, it's been 17 years. Maybe let it go. But okay. You decide to bring your brother back. Your very violent brother that you know is violent. And then you do the dumbest thing. I'm going to have you, my henchman try and strangle you, and I'm going to turn my back to you. And I'm like, what are you doing? How did you think that was going to end? I mean, like, how did he fuck it up? How did you fuck it up? If he really wanted to kill your brother, go where he is, put a bomb in his car or something. Don't bring him back to your house and give him a chance to kill you. Like, you're the idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I want you back here so I can have them strangle you. Like, primo plan, buddy. How did he make it as a gangster all these years? This is not good planning. Not a good plan, William Hurt. Very bad. Richie, you did not do a good job there. What do you think of their relationship anyway? I know we already said like whether we liked it or not, but what did you think of their relationship? Because it's apparently they, at some point in their lives, they got along, but also he said he tried to kill him when he was a kid.
Yeah, I have no feelings on their relationship.
It was a weird one. Apparently, at some point they got along, and then they didn't. Once he killed someone or injured some mobster that made him look bad, whatever. I don't know. Just didn't work out for any of these people. Should have just left the man in town, in Indiana, and everything would have been fine. Anyway, We both agree it works. I loved it. And if you've never seen the picture, while you listen to this, go watch the movie. It was very, very good. So, George, what's up next?
Next episode is a Patron's Choice episode. We don't know what the movie will be because our patrons vote on them, and that vote hasn't been finalized yet. If you want to vote but are not a patron, you can fix that by becoming one at patreon.com/DTSWpod.
And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a little behind the scenes peek. I was supposed to put up the films for the upcoming episodes of the Patron's Choice, and you guys, there's a poll and you vote on it. I forgot. So I spent good part of today putting up those polls.
For the next, 8 months.
Until the end of the year. Yeah. So George is going to come back to me and say, hey, Joe, what was this? You put this list together. What is it about? And I'm going to I have no memory. Because I did it months ago. I have no memory. But they all have a theme. Everything I put together definitely has a theme.
And more behind the scenes. And if you're a patron, you can actually see our scripts. When I do the thing where I talk about the movies and I say, hey, what was the theme, Joe? I go and I look at what the theme you wrote was, and I generally put it in there so you don't have to remember.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yes, you do. But it's funny when you say, because in the initial one, it's I have no clue. But they all definitely do have themes, and hopefully you'll enjoy them and vote on them. Okay, so I guess that's it for this episode. I'm Joe Nixon. Thanks for listening.
And I'm George Romaka. Thanks for listening indeed, because if a podcast drops and there's no one around to hear it, it's just another collection of ones and zeros that doesn't matter.
You've been listening to Does This Still Work? Produced by Joe Dixon and George Romaka. This content is CAN credentialed, which means you can report instances of harassment, abuse, or other harm on their hotline at 617-249-4255 or on their website at creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org. The hosts can be reached via social media, email, or the contact page at dtswpod.com. Be good to yourself and others, because that still works.
Probable hookers.
Doesn't matter what I wrote there. What I said matters. Dear Abby, in 2000, I won full custody of my 2 children, a boy 12 and a girl, Dallas, who is now 14. Okay. Dear Amy, is there a difference between being gay and being homosexual? I've recently been exploring my bi side and experimenting with other men.